Get your questions answered by Deb and Jen.
Deb and Jen are at it again.
Top of the hour. Welcome to the Deb and Jen Show. I'm Coach Deb.
And I'm Coach Jen.
And we're happy to have you here. As always, we love to take your questions, anything related to speaking, messaging, networking, sales, marketing. We're here for it all, especially if you're marketing online, but even if you're not, we have a lot of wisdom to share. So any questions you want to pop in the chat, we'll be happy to do our best to answer them. And of course, as always, you can submit questions by sending an email to us at questions@debandjenshow.com. All right. So last week, Jen, we talked about coming off of a big weekend where we did multiple presentations and how we prepared for that and some of our secrets for getting ready. And we said we would continue this week with anything else that was remaining, but also share some of our tech that we use in our own offices when we're doing live videos. And like, for example, even this one, because, people don't know what to buy. And the truth is you don't have to spend a fortune. There are a lot of excellent products that don't cost that much. Of course, you can always up your game, the more video that you do and so on, but there are some basics that you can use to get started. And so we wanted to share our list with you. In fact, we'll talk about some of them today. Jen has some great suggestions, and then we'll post a list with this week's YouTube. These videos go up on YouTube, so we'll post the list with the YouTube post for this week and also for last week. Okay, so Jen, do you want to start off on some of the either tips that we didn't get to last week or some of the tech that you recommend? Everything from lighting to whatever, to mics, to all that kind of stuff.
Sure. How about I'll do tech because it's usually pretty sexy. People like it and it's easy to show. So I will paint myself right now as an example of what not to do with your front lighting. You can see you can probably see the house across the way from me in my glasses. So one of the first pieces of tech that I use, well, I'm going to call it tech, is actually a really fantastic laptop stand, which I could raise up higher right now. I'm not going to because I'd have to move my entire laptop, but it is a stand that if I were to elevate my laptop slightly, I could actually get rid of the glare on my glasses. So for those of you who have either a desktop computer or a laptop that's just sitting, or even if it's just elevated a couple of inches, that's okay. But it's nice to have your camera at a higher angle and to be able to have the option to lower it or raise it. I got mine for like $20. It might not even have been $20 on Amazon. We'll post a link, but absolutely love it. I take it everywhere I go and I travel with it. And I think Coach Deb, you have one of those also. Did you have one when we were traveling together?
Oh yeah, definitely. They're all different styles. I'll put one in the chat. A great one that I'm finding now from Amazon. And these, what's nice about these and what you want to look for, and I'm not promising that this one has it, but what you want to look for is one that folds. Because if you're ever traveling, here's one. What a super long link. I just popped that in the chat. If you're ever traveling, you can fold it flat. So don't get one that doesn't fold or doesn't adjust. You want to get one that has all kinds of adjustments, like to make it flatter, to make it taller, to make it fall flat, so that you can really be at your ideal height. When we were traveling a couple of weekends ago for these big presentations, we had to do a lot of Zoom calls in between. And so we each had our own with us. Mine's pink. Yours is silver, I think, but whatever. They come in different colors. But what's nice is that they collapse so they can, go in your suitcase.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, we're going to put the list together I hope I'm saying your name correctly. If it's
right.
And there's the first one is a laptop stand. Now, what if you don't have a laptop, Jen? What could you do to be...
This is what happens when you don't have a stand and you set it on your desk. Nobody wants to see up your nose, just so you know.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a laptop stand, which has definitely 100% happened to me before I got into the habit of carrying this one with me. And sometimes if I forget to put it in my suitcase or my suitcase is so packed that I can't squeeze it in there, then if you don't have an extendable or a laptop stand that you can adjust, you can, and I have literally taken stacks of books or other things like in a hotel room. Sometimes I can find something to elevate it like elevated up on, sometimes a little tray that holds the bathroom supplies, whatever you can find. Sometimes the ice
I've
bucket.
used the wastebasket, like
Yep,
the square sides. You definitely,
exactly. Right. The only thing that I would caution you against is like, let's say you use the ice bucket or the wastebasket and you flip it over. Please know they're not that sturdy. So if
yeah,
you
true.
flip the table or something happens, like there's a chance
Whoops.
everything will just take off flying. So be
Yeah.
very cautious of that. But it's a huge difference, honestly. Like I'm not gonna be I'm not doing anything to this right now. This is what it looks like when my laptop is on my desk, and it's a regular height desk, right? Very different than if you can see me, when you can see me like this. So absolutely love it. Changed my life. I think it increases the quality of the videos, and it's, like I said, 20-ish bucks online. So that's laptop stand number
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so Jen, hang on. Let me adjust my okay, so you go back a little bit to your normal position. All right, everybody take note. You want your face to be like in the upper half
Okay.
above the halfway point. You don't want to be down low like this. You want to make sure your head's right about where we are, and you don't want to cut your head off like Jen is just demonstrating. You want to be like a newscaster. Like look at the newscasters on TV. How are they framed? You want to be framed correctly. You don't want to be like off to the side. You don't want to have a messy desk behind you. So make it look professional. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be neat and tidy. And you don't want to be in the witness protection program with the light coming behind you and like you're just a shadow. So the best way to experiment, I think we said this last week, Jen, was just start your own Zoom. Put your camera on and experiment. What's the best height for me? And sometimes it's just a question of like, I can fold my laptop forward and like, oh, no, that does not look good. Or I can go back and go, yeah, no, that doesn't look good either. So you practice on Zoom and you get just the right, oh, that's still not quite right. So you get it just so that you're in about this frame of the video. Okay, so that's important because we've seen plenty of videos where people are not centered properly.
Right. Thank you for that. Yes. And secondarily, to build on that, when Deborah said have your background be neat and tidy, like if you don't use a green screen, we talked about this a little last week, so watch that one. I'm not going to go into green screen again, but if you're not using a virtual background, which is totally cool, like I'm actually a fan, if I had to choose, of no virtual background. That being said, it definitely makes it handy when you're traveling and you want to look uniform. And if you have your natural background, my recommendation is to have some depth in the background so that you're not just, again, I said last week, like you're not just staring at a tan wall or something of the sort, but on top of that, put a little bit of effort into what people are seeing behind you, whether it's a bookshelf or a painting on the wall or
Potted plants.
right, like, yeah. So put some thought into it. People are used to seeing your natural background these days. In many business meetings, most people aren't in with a virtual background, but put some thought into it. And it doesn't take much space. That's probably the biggest thing for you to know. You don't have to have an entire room dedicated, although it's nice if there aren't things interrupting you, like kids or spouses or dogs or cats or whatever you've got living in your house. It's nice to have some quiet space, but you don't need very much space at all to create a Zoom space, just to be clear on that, right? So if you're backing into a corner, maybe the corner is offset a little bit, so it's not just a vertical line coming down the back of my head. Maybe I shift my desk just a little bit, but it puts some perspective, and you can hang a picture on the wall and put a plant, and at least it looks like you tidied up a bit. I've seen some Zoom backgrounds, I don't know about you, Coach Deborah, not getting into like the things people accidentally do while their cameras are on. We could have another discussion about that, but I've seen Zoom backgrounds that are just kind of filthy, frankly, where I'm like, is that your laundry basket behind you? Like you could just scoot it over a foot and I wouldn't be able to
Got
see
the
it.
bathroom behind you with the door open? They don't need to see that, right? So
There. Right. Okay, good.
here's
So
the bottom. Okay, let's bottom line that. You
okay, let's
don't
do it.
want your background to distract people from listening to you. All right. So if they're like leaning and squinting and going, what the heck is that? I had a client once that had multiple bookshelves behind him, and everyone was crammed full of papers and books, and things were kind of falling forward and out of it. So the takeaway from that was this guy seems a little disorganized. Would I want to work with him? So
Right.
you don't want people to be confused or disenchanted or turned off by your background. You want them to stay focused to you. You want it to be pleasing. I was at a doctor's office recently and I walked in and I'm like, wow, what a great doctor's office. It was calming. They had beautiful plants around and artwork. Didn't feel like a doctor's office at all. That's the kind of environment you want to create for your viewers. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's go on to camera. I have two cameras and I'm going to show you the one I bought first. And I love both of these cameras. One of them for me is easier to use. So, I mean, they both work, but I'm going to show you the first one. This one was a little pricier. It might've been like 200 bucks, something like that. Let's see, I'll hold it in front of my body. See it?
What's it called? Do you have the name there for us?
Lumina.
Lumina. Okay. Yeah.
Lumina, and we'll post a link. I'll post a link because they have different models of it, of course. The interesting thing about the Lumina, I think, is that you can actually use it and create a short depth of field, right? So it's not so that the background blurs slightly, but it isn't as blurred as if you use the zoom filter, right? The zoom filter is a lot of blur, so no one can see your into your bathroom or your laundry basket. But with the Lumina, I can actually blur the background. If there's like a slider that I can say, ooh, I like it a little less blurred, a little more blurred, which is awesome. And it's super cool because I can adjust all of the features as if I were a photo. Like I can adjust temperature, brightness, contrast, all of those things on my screen. So I open my Zoom, I open the little Lumina control box, and I can adjust all of the features. So for example, most incandescent lights are warm. They'll make you look orange. So if you're at a hotel and you're like, oh, I forgot my ring light, and you grab a lamp from the hotel, not all of them, but most hotel lights are going to cast an orange hue on you. So you're going to look kind of orange. With the Lumina, I can actually cool it down so that I look like my normal self and not like I did a spray tan or fake tanning or something like that. I can actually look normal. So that's what I like about the Lumina. The second one that I have that was not as expensive, this one might have been about 100, maybe one and a quarter, perhaps. Let's see. I'll show it to you. I'll hold up the box in a second. It's just a Logitech webcam. But man, this thing, I put it on. I think this looks good, like this camera. This is my MacBook camera, but I'll plug this Logitech in and I'm like, oh my gosh, my Mac camera is horrific. Sorry, Mac, it's just the way that it is. So it's a Logitech, and we'll post the link again. I don't have the exact model number. It's on the box, but we'll post it. So Logitech for about 100 bucks. Absolutely love, love, love this webcam.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, no, and I will say, depending on how old your Mac is, like I'm on a Mac camera right now, and I've heard professionals tell me they're just fine. But if you want to upgrade, the one that Jen is saying is excellent. Go ahead and do that. Especially if you're on a PC, because their internal cameras are really not that good. So you definitely want to get a good quality camera. You don't have to spend a fortune. And while we're making these suggestions, by the way, get one thing every few months if you're on a budget. You don't have to like spring and spend hundreds of dollars all at once. You can buy them a few at a time, and like one at a time. Okay, what's next?
All right, next. So we have laptop, we have camera, like the laptop holder, we have the webcam, and then last but not least, this is my favorite microphone in the whole wide world. And I like it because well, I'll show it to you first. Ready? Coming up out of the bottom of the screen. This.
Okay.
I love this thing. Love it. I love it. Let me just open it. We'll do a short unboxing video. I love this.
Rode, R-O-D-E. Yep.
Yep. This is how big it is. It's not very big. Yeah.
Yep.
Heavy. I mean, in case you ever need a weapon or self-protection, it is quite heavy if you were to, but anyway, that's a different topic for traveling on the road. It is heavy. It comes with a stand, which is down in the box. It comes with a little stand, so you can just screw it in. You could screw it into a boom, one of those big arms that sometimes you see people have in their videos. Unbelievable at blocking out background noise and catching your voice. So I did test it. For any camera, or excuse me, any mic, when you get a mic, there are unidirectional mics, directional mics, and
explain what that means, Jen.
I think that
omnidirectional.
I think Bill would be good at that,
I can
but
tell you,
one
unidirectional means you have to be like right in front of it. Okay. Omnidirectional means it'll pick up your voice from the side as you move around. But unidirectional, all the old phones were that way, right? So you had to be like speaking right in front of it. You'd have to pull it like in front of your face. So yeah, omnidirectional is better. If Bill has who gets saying she doesn't see you, Jen. So that's interesting. Did you put it on gallery view, Huget? That would be the best thing. If you could have it on gallery view, then you'll see her.
In the upper right corner, it should say gallery view.
It says view. If you click on that and click gallery view, that might help.
On your cell.
Oh, on your cell. Okay. All right.
So,
well,
yeah.
You can fast forward the replay when we get it up on YouTube, and of course, all the links will be there as well.
Yeah. So when I was using this mic, so there's not a lot of buttons. I have had Yetis. I like Yetis just fine. Also, this one I like it even better. But I still love my Yetis, which are microphones, YETI mics. We can put a link to that too. I basically how I tested this mic to make sure that when I was making a recording that I really wanted, that was like my, the one I wanted to use. Before I made that recording, I tested the mic. So I set it up on its little stand, and I turned on my recording on Zoom, and I began speaking just for a few seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And then I would change the position of the mic and see if it worked better, if I tilted it a little bit this way, or if it mattered at all, or if I stood over here, or because sometimes when I talk, I might be moving around. So I tested it before I made my final recording. And I highly recommend you do that so that you know how close do you have to be, how far away will it still pick you up and sound good. Don't just plug it in, stick it on your desk, and imagine it's going to be perfect. It might be, but you should test it.
Very good point. And I've been on calls where people sound like they're in a tunnel a little bit. And that, again, becomes very distracting when they're trying to listen to what you're saying. So it's so important to check it out. Okay, so you have that recommendation. And I have one that I love. I'm just going to pop that in the chat. And it's called a FiFine. And let me show you what it looks like. I only use this when my internal mic goes out, but it looks like this. You take it out of the box. It has a little tripod that comes with it. You can see you can open up the tripod, put it on your desk, and face it towards you. You can put it to the side. Of course, I should aim it at me. You can have it to the side. And then it has a USB plug on the end. Now, if you've got a Mac, you're going to like, oh, there's no USB ports on my Mac. True. So you'd have to get what they call a dongle, which is a strip that has all kinds of openings on it, like USB ports and whatnot. So you can plug in these extracurricular activities, these things that like you might have another what do you call it? Storage stick that you stick in there. I don't know these technical names, but this is how I plug in this microphone. I love this one. It's also, I've popped the link in the chat, and let me just see, what is the current price on Amazon? $29.99. So again, if you're on a PC especially, you want to have a good external mic. Right now I'm using the Mac mic, and I'm close enough that I think the sound is okay. But again, like Jen said, you want to test it out to make sure it's working on your end and you sound professional. We don't want the tech that we're using to distract or take away from our own power, our own effectiveness, right? So choose your tech carefully, try out some of these recommendations. Of course, we all know the great thing about Amazon is you get to return things, right? So if it doesn't work out for you, so you might buy a couple and see which one works best for your computer setup, whether it's a Mac or a PC, laptop or desktop. Okay. Do you have any more recommendations? No, you're muted, Jen.
That's probably good because I was chuckling at some of the words that you said. Perhaps I muted myself on purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to say what I was thinking. I'll say it for a different day. It was about dongle and extracurricular activities. Okay, great. So I'm going to share with you.
Should I show people what a dongle looks like?
Yeah, I packed mine away because I'm leaving to the airport in like an hour and a half. So I was just looking for mine. Yeah. Do you have yours or not?
Yeah, I have to pull it out of my
You do that. I'll talk about something. So let's talk about ring lights for a minute. They're pretty easy peasy, right? Like we've all seen them. Here they are. Oh, ring light. This one has a little phone holder in the middle. It also comes on a tripod. So you can actually buy ring lights with a tripod, if you want an iPhone or whatever kind of phone you've got, holder. They're like $20-ish on Amazon. So get one. They're easy peasy. Sometimes they usually have a USB connection on the end of them, which you can of course plug into a charging block or plug it into the dongle or plug it into your PC. But they're great. And typically the ring lights have temperature settings. So if you do look orange, you can make yourself look not so orange. You can set it to a cool hue for the light. So that's great. They're easy to collapse. This one I have is kind of fancy. It goes up really high, but some of them are tiny, like on a little tripod, which makes them easy to pack in a carry-on bag or to pack in your checked luggage if you're traveling and you don't know what kind of lighting you're going to be encountering when you're making videos. Deborah, I see you guys.
I've got this really cool one, and because we're on green screen, you can't see it so well, but it's a little lamp that sits on my desk, and it has the 3 levels, of coloring, and so you can change them according to your skin tone and the light that's already in your room. This thing swivels up and down. It's great. Sometimes I lower it when I want to, have extra light for reading at night. So it's a great one I found. I can't even remember where, but you could look for one like this that already comes, and this plugs into a regular socket. So you don't have to even put in your dongle. I think they make ones that are better for like travel. They're smaller. There's ones that you can use for your cell phone. If you're using your cell phone, I don't think we'd recommend doing live calls from your cell phone very often, unless you have a really good cell phone, a really good mic, and there are some. And I can't remember the name of the one I just recently got for when you are, like, say you're interviewing somebody, you're traveling and you meet someone in a hotel lobby. Hi, I'm here with Bob. Bob, you and I just had a great conversation, and you want to create a video that you're going to post on your YouTube channel or wherever. There are mics that are great for that, and little ring lights that you can put on the back of your camera while you're recording, a little tripod. There's all kinds of little things like that, which it would take a while to amass them, but we can certainly put links to those kinds of things, as we said before, when we post these on YouTube.
Cool. All right. I am almost done with gadgets for the most part. So this, let's see, I'll show you the packaging so you can see the name.
Yep. Neweer.
So yeah. I have a few of these. They do go on a tripod. I took it off the tripod for you, but okay, I can do it. This is all a light. Get it close, right? So I can adjust the temperature. I can adjust the brightness. It tilts. It sits on the tripod.
You put that on your desk, or where do you put that?
I put it on a tripod on either side of me.
So it has an opening on the bottom to screw onto a tripod. Those are standard sizes, right? Those tripod.
Yeah. And it does adjust. It's got the little screw that threads it in and out, so you can adjust it if you've got a thicker, but it's a pretty standard size. I guess it's possible for me to have a tripod that's bigger or smaller, but it adjusts pretty well. I did buy it with tripods. They come in this nice carrying case. So in this little handle, I can just carry it. It isn't very big. And then I don't take these with me when I travel. If I'm traveling to speak, usually wherever I'm going has lights and things like that. But when I'm making longer form videos, I know a lot of the world is short form these days, but when I'm making longer form videos and I just want the lighting to be, I don't want shadows behind me if I'm not using a virtual background. I love having these because I can turn up the brightness or down. So if I just need a little bit of light, I can have it. I can adjust the temperature, of course, as well. And they're just super flexible. And these were not very expensive either. I thought they were going to be, and they weren't. So we'll put a link to them. I don't know how much they are right now. I got them a few years ago. Yeah.
Now, a little tip there when we're on lights, since we're on lights, if you wear glasses like Jen and I do, she's got hers off now. But the tip is to not have light coming right at you. You put your ring lights or whatever lamps or, standing lights that you're using, you put them off to the side, angled towards you, like coming this way. And that will eliminate the rings that you see sometimes in people's glasses. So I have several lights on me right now. I unplugged the one that I just showed you guys that was on this side. But this is how you eliminate the rings. And if you have a window that's in front of you, if you're seeing the glare of the window, shut the curtains, all right, and just use the ring lights, because again, it becomes distracting. Even though you may now think it's distracting, it's a bit distracting to your listener. All right, so these are all at-home devices. Some of them are worth traveling. This is something that I cannot live without. It has nothing to do with video recording, except that it is what I call, well, not what I call, it's a phone stand. So you pop your phone in it. Let me get it so I can hold it. It is adjustable. You can move this part, you can move this part. It folds flat for traveling, but you can put your phone in it like this. And what's great about this is if let's say you're on a seminar or workshop, like Jen and I are on this together, we may have to text back and forth. My phone's on silent, but I can just take a quick glance down and see, like Jen may saying, "You're talking too long. Shush, I need to talk." But she would never say that to me. No, Jen. But I'm just saying, if she wanted to, I could have my phone on this little stand instead of flat on my desk. And it has a little opening so you can plug it in while you're doing this. But this thing is like, I don't know, 10 or 12 bucks. I travel with it everywhere. I would, if you're ever on hold with the insurance company, the utility company, this is your lifesaver. You just prop it up on your desk and you have it on speakerphone and you just wait till they finally pick up your call, right? Airlines, all those things where it takes forever. But anyway, I highly recommend this. It's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things in terms of gadgets. And look, I just folded it all up and this is how small it is for traveling. Love it.
I'm going to get one today. I don't even have one of those.
Yeah, and they make slightly bigger ones for tablets. So that, I mean, this could kind of support a tablet, but they make kind of bigger ones specifically for tablets. They're great if you're tired of holding stuff. And if you don't like the whatever gadget you use on the back to try to get your, this isn't really showing up very well, but I have this little stand. It slides on my slippery desk. This stand is the bomb. Okay.
Awesome. Good. Okay.
Any questions? You got any questions? You're welcome to unmute if you do and ask your question. Have we covered things you were curious about? I think she's still there. She's on her cell. So how does she unmute on her cell, Jen?
There is a button down at the bottom, like when you touch the screen.
It says,
yeah,
unmute myself or something like that.
You can type it in the chat too if you want. I guess the overall takeaway I would say is that it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm going to see if I can do the recap because you always do the recap. Let's see if I can I can rise to the occasion today. Okay, so number one, what have we reviewed? What have we discussed today? So we talked today about tech for video predominantly on your laptop, although some of it could apply to your cell phone. And the key components that we spoke about were having an adjustable laptop stand so that you can adjust the height and the angle. We also talked about your head placement, like if you're way back here, or you're way up here, or you're too high or too low on your camera, how do you position your body on camera? In addition to that, we talked about how to manage your background so that it's clean and tidy and it doesn't distract your audience. That was all under laptop stand. The next thing we talked about, we showed you a few different webcams. We talked about the Lumina, we talked about the Logitech, and the FiFine. What's yours called, Coach Deborah? That's your mic. We're getting to mics. So first we talked about camera.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, so camera, Logitech, and the Lumina. Then we moved into talking about microphones. So microphones are essential because people will, they'll tolerate sometimes a choppy photo, but they will not tolerate poor quality audio. So we talked about microphones that you can use. And of course, my favorite is the NT USB mini microphone by Rode. And Coach Deborah's favorite is?
It's the FiFine.
Awesome.
And we'll put the links again. And we might have some extras that we didn't even talk about today.
Right, absolutely. Then we moved into lighting. So we talked about ring cams as well as using natural light in a window. We talked about side lighting and the Neweer Neweer brand of lighting that you can put on tripods so that you don't have glare, you don't have shadow behind you, and you can show up looking professional while on camera. Anything I Coach Deb?
No, we just the things about, let's see, where to position the lights. Did you talk about that? Because I was putting the link in for Huguette. Okay. Yeah, the YouTube channel Huguette is at Deb and Jen Show. So if you just post Deb and Jen Show in the YouTube search box, you'll find our videos there. Okay. Yeah, the various stands definitely will elevate your game. Make sure you're visible, hearable, all the good things. You don't want to be tinny or sound like you're in a tunnel. Another thing we didn't say, but I will add, and there's different opinions on this. I'm not a big fan of people doing live videos like while they're jogging, because you're watching like this as they're running along going, I'm out for a jog, so I thought I'd do a Facebook Live and share with you all. No, no, I
It's
am
like
not
the
a fan.
Blair Witch Project. Did you ever watch that movie in the theaters, The Blair Witch Project?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you should only watch about 3 minutes of it. Make sure that you haven't eaten anything right before you watch it. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Go on jogging.
Yeah, well, you know, the natural videos are all the rage, right? Oh, just be in your natural environment and show yourself, you know, tipping over the spaghetti sauce in the kitchen, whatever foibles you have. And I think that's okay if you're like establishing a, you know, sort of if it's a casual video. But if you're going to do professional training or professional speaking, in my humble opinion, you want to come off as professional, because people will associate how you look, how you sound, with how professional they think you are. Okay, it's simple. Same with being on a live stage. How we dress, how we walk, how we hold our body, you know, the presence that we bring, all sends a message. Wow, I can trust this person. They are real. They are knowledgeable. They have expertise and experience that I can benefit from, right? So that's the impression you want to give whenever you're speaking. And we'll end on that happy note.
Love it. All right. Let's do it then. So thank you all. Thanks for coming to hang out with us. I look for the list of the tech items that we're going to put in. We'll put the links. And if you have questions, Deb, where can they send them to?
Questions at debandjenshow.com.
Nice. All right. See you next week.
All right. Bye, everyone.